everybody, it's Sierra the Artsy Badger, and today I'm doing a voiceover while I'm drawing, and sorry if you can hear my dog panting in the background. She just got home from a long walk, so she's tired. But today's video is going to be a little bit different than usual. I have no idea how the audio quality is going to turn out because I'm going to be moving my camera angle around, and my camera is my phone, which is also my microphone. Anyway, pretty much I really need to get out a video today and finish this Inktober piece today. So I'm gonna try to knock out two birds with one stone and do the voiceover while I do the filming. And I'm also just gonna kind of walk you through my Inktober process so far because I just don't have time to do anything else. So that's what we're doing today. Hopefully all of you have seen the video of me creating this cover right here. I'm pretty proud of it. It's probably the thing I'm most proud of so far this Inktober. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it up in the iCard, but let's get to drawing. So the first thing I do is open up to my official prompt list page, and as you can see, it has detached itself, but that's okay. And today is the 10th, so our word is pattern. Not super excited about that word. This is gonna be hard, but let's go ahead and flip to the next available blank page. I am now realizing that my tripod is kind of sort of in the way of this sketchbook. So I'll probably have to change angles to be able to really get into the nitty-gritty of this. But we don't need to have this open yet, actually, because the first thing I do is look for inspiration. So I open up my iPad and go to Pinterest and just try to find reference images of whatever it is that's inspiring me for the day. To be honest, pattern doesn't really inspire that much for me. I would say that pattern mostly makes me think of like clothing, maybe even flannel like what I'm wearing right now. I guess other things that have patterns can be things in nature, things, yeah, not too much is coming to mind. So I'll probably start off this search with just looking up the word pattern. Sometimes when I'm really lost for something, I just look up the word that is sort of inspiring the entire drawing and scroll around, and eventually I'll find something that sparks interest and will usually guide me in one direction. So let's get to doing that. So as I kind of expected, most of the things coming up for pattern are exactly that. They're just taking something and making a repeating image with it. Whether that be nature-related things or just organic shapes or geometric shapes. So it's not really sparking anything for me yet, except for that maybe confirming that I want to go in a sort of nature direction. So I kind of saw in here, I like this ginkgo leaf pattern, so I'm gonna save that to my references page. Ooh, I like the little moth pattern as well. Yeah, I'm really just kind of enjoying these very plant-based patterns. Those are appealing to me. So maybe with that, I'll go for patterns in nature. Let's see if that comes up with anything. Okay. Ooh, that's cool. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do like a bunch of like crossways of different fruits, and that shell was kind of cool too. Ooh, and like a tree ring. Ooh, yeah. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay, let's see. Oops, tree ring. I think this one is the most like what I'm thinking of. Fruit cut in half. I do kind of like the pear. I like watermelon too. I like this one, but it's in black and white, which I don't love. Maybe that's better. I like the pomegranate too. Let's go back to that one. What other patterns in nature are there? That one's so complex. I don't want to draw something so complex. Is something being symmetrical being in a pattern? Man, all of these are so complicated. Why? I guess this is probably, well, let's click on this. This is the closest to what I was, oh, there we go. Something like that. Ooh, or even that. That's cute. I kind of like that. That is sort of a pattern. So let's take a look at what I have so far. A lot of sort of standalone objects, a lot of food. Ooh, maybe I should just do like fruits and vegetables. Let me look for vegetables. Still giving me fruit. Maybe I should just do fruit. That seems pretty logical to me. So let's get rid of, I kind of like these still, so I'll leave that, but let's get rid of everything that's not a fruit. Cool. So I kind of like where my brain is going with this pattern. So the next thing I do is sketch. So I'm gonna move your angle and then bring the sketchbook back out and we'll continue on this journey together. Okay, now that we're at an angle where you can actually see what I'm doing, I'm gonna get to sketching. One thing that I thought about while I was setting up this new camera angle is that I'm a little bit concerned about color choices because fruits have very distinct colors that go along with them. So I'm just gonna take a peek at what my sort of like weekly color options are. And so let's go take a look at that. I have it here in the back. So this week I've already used coral pink and sky blue. So let's see. Maybe the light green is a good option because there's purple, yellow, and red and green, which is probably the most like wide variety of colors I have here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick out those colors. I have my light green Posca pen, and then I'm keeping all of my Copic markers that I'm using this month in this bag so that they're easy to grab. But let's see, we need Y35, R14, and B17. I'm also allowing myself to work with one gray tone per day, and it doesn't necessarily match up with each of these. I can change it based off of what I need. And the way I kind of pick that out is I take a scrap piece of paper and I do a little swatchy swatch of each of my colors that I have. And once I have those laid out, I kind of bring over my Copic marker swatch sheet and I decide which tone of gray I want to go with for this one. I'm kind of feeling that neutral too, so let's see. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so my neutral gray 2 is gonna be, so now that I have my colors picked out, I can slightly more confidently go into the sketching process. So I'm gonna go ahead and start sketching. I'll probably speed up the process here. If I have anything to say, I'll check back in with you guys. So the reason I erased the watermelon here is because I decided that there were too many fruit that had red. So I'm gonna draw some blueberries here instead. If you guys have been following me on Instagram, I have been doing my sketches and overall pieces in a style that is inspired by just another Ada. And just about 2 prompts ago, I've sort of figured out my style in her style, if that makes sense. So I'll do my best to walk you through that as I go about it, but the general gist is that I have at least 2 or 3, probably more like 3 shapes that will be colored in with Poscas, and each of those will be containing a object, and then I like to have something slightly more stylized or something that can span across the page behind those isolated objects. And yeah, that's kind of my method to this madness. Okie dokie, I finished the sketch, and so now I'm gonna start inking it. And by inking it, I mean using my Copic markers to color in the different items, and then I go over it with my Posca pens. Originally, I was doing it the opposite way, where I was doing the Posca pen portion first and then coloring everything in with Copic markers, but I've found that it's much better to go in with the Copic markers first, and then I can correct things with the Posca pen. That way I'm not drawing on the Posca pen with the Copic markers, which doesn't show up a lot, but it shows up a little. One other thing I forgot to mention is that I have decided to use liners to outline everything that I do pretty much. It makes it a little bit more my style and a little bit more, it makes it look more complete to me. And so the liner I'm going to be using today is this Micron 05 in the color, I don't remember, but it's a green color. I think it might be called like forest green, something like that. Anyway, that's what I'm going to be using, and the reason I'm using that is because the Posca pen color I'm using is green today, so they kind of go together. I just realized I forgot a very important part to this. I need to put something underneath my drawing so that it doesn't bleed onto the next page. And then a little note about the sort of background. I just kind of alternate with the 3, sometimes 4. I rarely include the gray in this portion, but I just kind of alternate with the 3 colors that are given to me in the beginning and make the little filler decoration. I don't really know what to call it. And I try to make it as even but also as random as possible, which can sometimes be a little tricky, but that's what I'm going for. Is it looking like I didn't really plan it out. Let's hope that this color palette treats me a lot better this time than it did on the Husky prompt, because oh boy, I had a little bit of a meltdown about that one. I absolutely hated the way that one turned out. now that I'm done with most of the marker work, I don't need that anymore. So next I'm going to do some of the Posca pen work. I haven't decided what I want to do with these lemon tree leaves yet. I'm not sure if I want to do them in straight Posca pen, maybe with a fine liner outline, or if I want to do them in the colors that I have for this day. So we'll figure that out after the Posca pen portion of this drawing. I like to kind of like charge up my Posca pen before starting. I've been pleasantly surprised with this paper actually with Posca pens. That's about the only positive thing I have to say about this paper though. Honestly, it doesn't take Copic markers very well, so I wouldn't really recommend it. And in case you guys don't remember, this is a Moleskin sketchbook, and I've had Moleskin art sketchbooks in the past, and they've taken alcohol markers just fine. So I'm not sure if because this is the like portfolio style, I think is what it was called, where you can tear out the pages, maybe that's why the paper is different. I'm not totally sure. But as you can kind of see, I start off by outlining everything in the square rectangle, and then after that I will outline the rectangle itself and the fruit itself, or whatever object or item is in the square. I do have to say I am really loving this sort of experimenting with Posca pen markers. So many artists here on YouTube are obsessed with them, and I've been wanting to get better at them. I've had them for a while, and if you guys remember in my Drawcember drawings, I used them a handful of times, but really it just tore up the paper and I couldn't really get myself to actually enjoy the act of using them. But now that I'm committing myself to doing entire pieces where they play a big part in it, I'm really enjoying it. It's fun to get a very flat layer of color. I think that's part of why I actually don't like this paper very much. The thing that I like about Just Another Ada's art is that everything is so flat and clean looking, and she uses alcohol markers too, and most of the time alcohol markers do have a very flat and clean finish, which some people like, some people don't like. But I found that on this paper, it's kind of hard to see in this drawing. I've noticed that with the markers, it almost collects and creates these spots in the color. So instead of it being nice and flat, it's speckled, and that was driving me insane the first few days. I don't know if I'm just becoming more familiar with the paper and that's why it doesn't bother me as much, or if I'm just getting used to seeing it and so that's why it's not bothering me. But it's just something to keep in mind if you're thinking of buying this paper for alcohol markers. And this paper is so smooth and almost waxy that it allows the Posca pens to kind of glide over the top of it, which is really nice. Now that I'm done with the paint marker part of the drawing, thank goodness, I get into the line work portion. And this is honestly my favorite part because I feel like it's the time that everything just starts to kind of come together and look a little bit more finished. Hopefully that'll be the case this time as well. Don't really like the way this is looking. Oopsies. Ew, it looks like such a fuzzy strawberry. Oh well, moving on. I will say that this Inktober is not going as well as I would have hoped. I am a day behind. After today, I will not be a day behind, but the hours that I work in my day job are pretty intense, and so I don't find very much time in my day to do art and have light to be able to take a photo of it. almost every day until yesterday's. I had finished them in the day they were meant to be finished, but it was after dark, and so I wasn't able to take a photo of it. But that's just kind of how it goes, and I'm trying to let myself be okay with that. I am kind of mad at myself that I didn't go the true Inktober route this year. I have always wanted to do dip pen and ink, and I was planning on doing that for this year, but I just didn't get around to picking out the supplies, and I had recently bought some more Posca pens for my birthday, and I was feeling so inspired by Just Another Ada and a few others on Instagram that I decided I would use this opportunity to actually start using Posca pens. And I don't regret that, but I really want to try dip inks and dip pens. So I'm thinking that maybe for Mermay, which is kind of far away at this point, but I'm thinking that I might do sort of like a Mermay Inktober mashup where I'll try and use only inks for Mermay. Let me know if you guys like that idea. I don't know that I've ever actually completed Mermay. I think I start it every year, or I at least do a dedicated piece for it here and there, but I don't think I've ever actually done all 30 days of it. Is it 30? 31? I think it's 30 for Mermay. Okay, I think we're finito. So, hope you guys enjoyed this style of video. Sorry if the audio is super bad, and sorry if the video is super long. I really don't know what is going to happen, but as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.